What about the linebackers? That was an area that they wanted to address. They addressed with a couple of picks. What have you seen from the linebacking core through, and again, I know it's through minicamp, but through minicamp with the linebackers?
Yeah, well, I mean, Joe Schobert and Christian-Kirksey are your couple of your two most experienced defensive players on the football field. And I've talked to a couple of people I really trust about how the fact that those two are going to make or break the Browns season, in my opinion. They're pretty solid defensive backwise between their safeties and corners, really good depth in both positions. Up front, their front four is dynamic. The first line of the front four is as good as anybody in the NFL, in my opinion. Now, the depth there is a little bit of a question mark, but the front line linebackers between Kirksey and Schobert, as Wilks prefers two linebackers on the field about 75% of the time. Really translated that to his days at Arizona last year between him and Al Holcomb, who runs the linebackers here as the run game coordinator. So, in my opinion, Kirksey, Schobert, and make or break this Browns defense. How well they cover, how well they cut down on the missed tackles that were an issue from last year. No reason to not feel optimistic about both of those guys feeling healthy right now. Too tough to tell. I like how they're running. I like how they're moving. And to me, that's the most important thing when you're learning a new defense is how comfortable they look in things, how comfortable they're running, changing direction, run fits, those things. I'm encouraged. I know everybody's always encouraged during OTAs and mini camps, things like that. You never really hear very many bad things. But until you see something that's poor, you don't really have a chance to comment on it. So they look healthy mentally, physically. They look good. That's important. And Ardarius Taylor, who they signed out of Tampa Bay, has typically been the third linebacker, comes on the field. Jannard Avery has transitioned to more full-time edge player, so he won't really be in that linebacker group. The two young guys, Sione-Takitaki, Mac Wilson, they've stuck those guys together a lot. Those guys are playing in the same group between the twos and the threes. When they're on the field, they're together. Willie Harvey, the Iowa State kid, who's an undrafted free agent, I like a lot, too, as a potential into the roster player to build and sort of get him ready to play someday, and maybe a practice squad guy if it comes down to it. He was a tryout player that they signed. They like him a lot. So the young core is there. So these older two, Joe Schobert's in a contract year, and Christian-Kirksey's dead cap reduces significantly next year if they do want to move on. Pressure's on those two older players that if they want to be a part of the Browns for the long term, they better really put up really good years and prove to this franchise why they need to be a part of this defense long term, as they have a lot of really big financial decisions to make. So you got two very eager, hungry first-line linebackers in terms of proving themselves, almost proving themselves again, proving their worth as they feel that they or should be valued in the NFL. Then you have two or three really hungry young guys looking to come in and get on the field too. So as I've said it many times, I think this linebacker group, how well they play, can really change this Browns defense from maybe a middling group to a top 10 NFL defense.